everybody, and welcome to a mini slice of gaming episode. That's right, a lot of people are out tonight, but we're still gonna do it. We still got to talk about video games. There's a lot of stuff, well, not really a lot of stuff. We're kind of in that post E3 mortem at this point. If you didn't know, we did do a video on the Nintendo Direct that happened earlier this week. Great, quick little podcast, just breaking down everything that was shown off there. But this episode, we're just going to be checking out all the other news, little tidbits throughout the week, and also Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree. I played a bit of it, so I want to talk a bit about that. Joining me is just one other person, the only other person available, Bench.
Hello, I am here at 1 in the afternoon.
Yep, we're actually recording this in the afternoon instead of night because, just like no
We're
one else was
we're
available.
free.
Yeah, really. Anyways, if you want to check us out, YouTube, Spotify, all podcast platforms. Like the podcast, check us out every Saturday. Slice of Gaming episode. But we're gonna go right into the news, which there is very, very little of. I'll start off first. Bench. We did do our direct review earlier this week, but it's been a few days since then. How are you feeling about the direct? Like, and just not E3 this year in general. What's the tonal feeling on it?
I mean, I think the direct was very solid, like way better than I was expecting going in. We all thought it would be like remasters and stuff, and then they just whip out my favorite Nintendo franchise coming back. So I mean, I can't really complain. I'm pretty much still in that high. It's carried me through this entire week, just constant hype. And
Yeah,
honestly, like brought in like my entire reinvigorated my gaming energy to like get back and just play some games.
no, I'm right there with you. I mean, like, it was that feeling of like going into it, we all expected like it's just gonna be remasters ports, which we wanted. We want stuff like Wind Waker,
Hmm.
Twilight Princess, Kid Icarus Uprising. It wouldn't have been like a bad direct if it was
Yeah.
just those stuff. But we're kind of at that point where it's like it's so hard to complain. Like, like I still see people complain. It's like, where's Wind Waker? It's like you guys played that game. We're getting a brand new 2D Zelda. Like it's hard to complain, in my opinion. I want
Yep.
those ports as well, but I can wait.
Yep. And on E3 as a whole, I think it's honestly the most E3 it's felt. I think
Really.
pretty much everyone showed up for in like a 3 week window, still longer than normal E3, but enough to make it feel like pretty contained. And then just all like the previews we got out of people who were at play days. I mean, I wasn't the biggest fan of like the embargoes, still like a week and a half kind of spread out, but I did think it like carried on that news cycle and really felt like we were constantly getting news for like a concise amount of time in like a period of the year, which was refreshing.
I feel that. This was definitely like arguably the least E3 it felt. It almost does feel like at this point where I just got to get over it. Truly, that E3 is gone and it's never going to come back, which is fine. I mean, like, listen, things happen. Like, you lose stuff, you get stuff. I think what we have now, we get an Xbox showcase pretty much every summer, and this Xbox showcase was very high quality. We get a direct pretty much every summer, and again, this direct was very high quality. I think really it just comes down to Sony, where it's just like, yeah, Sony's never
They'll do
consistent with
something.
summer plans. I mean, they'll do something. It's just like you're. It's either the something is a
Yeah.
showcase or it's a state of play. It's a little frustrating in that regard.
Hmm. Do you think Jeff is doing a good job, not only with Summer Game Fest, but like giving an opportunity for like previews and stuff?
I think okay, so play days. I think he's doing an amazing job there. Like,
I
I
agree.
love the idea of play. That is that E3 energy of, hey, bring in some previews, bring in some like reviews of stuff coming up in the next few months. Gets the excitement going, gets people talking about video games in a very like constrained time window. Agreed that on the thing of like a lot of these preview embargoes were really late for some reason. I'm not the biggest fan of that, but other than that, I mean, it's just cool to hear people say, yeah, I played Black Myth Wukong, Metaphor ReFantazio, Dragon Quest, and it's like all these games that I really want to play as well. It just constrained into this nice window. I think he's doing an amazing job there. Comes down to Summer Games Fest itself, the main show. It just it doesn't. It took years for TGAs to really feel like the TGAs. And I'm kind of feeling that with Summer Games Fest, where it's like it's gonna take a few years before developers are like, yeah, we do want to show up at the Summer Games Fest and show stuff off there. And I also think he's just kind of spread thin. He does SGF, Gamescom opening night live, and that what's it called, TGA. That's 3 big
Yeah.
showcases a year. Like you're not gonna have like everything at every show. So
I'm
I don't
glad
know.
it exists.
I'm glad it exists. I just think there's definitely some years where it's better than others.
Yeah, I agree.
Who do you think are the biggest winners and losers of this SGF season? Like who did the best? Who's kind of
I
walking
mean,
away with their tail between their legs?
it just comes between like who's the best with Xbox and Nintendo, and honestly, I think I prefer Nintendo, but it's gonna come down to like what you gravitate towards IP wise, because a lot of people are gonna really prefer that Xbox show, and a lot of people are really gonna prefer that Nintendo show, and that's just what it comes down to. And definitely Sony was the outlier, where they just like didn't really have anything major. I mean, the state of play was good, it just like didn't have anything great besides like Astro, but that's kind of like its own thing. So I think like I do think they have a showcase, and that's when they kind of show up later this year.
That's my hope right now. I do fully agree. I think Nintendo was my personal favorite show as well. And listen, you can call us Nintendo fanboys.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are because we like their
Yep.
games. They're good games. But I'm not gonna like deny like Xbox had an amazing showcase.
I agree.
It's just you look at like the type of games I like. I just like Nintendo games more than a lot of the stuff shown at Xbox Showcase. I still came out of the Xbox Showcase where I'm like, holy shit, Doom and Metal Gear. That's all I really
Yeah,
want
and I do
ever.
think something is like pretty different between the shows. Is Nintendo had like dates for almost everything besides like Metroid. Xbox didn't have dates for like every game coming out this year. And I think
Yeah,
that does like make a difference. Like games we didn't know about, Mario, Mario Party, Zelda, they all have dates.
yeah,
Avowed, Indie, Metal Gear, like all these things did not have dates. And I think that like having a date on something helps you get more excited. Like Zelda's in September. Like that's super close.
I definitely think like with Indiana Jones specifically, it's like if that's a December title, I lose so much hype for that game. Because like if I'm being honest, I don't want to play games in December, or like I don't want like a big new release in
Yeah.
December in that time frame. That's my backlog time to catch up on everything in 2024. You know, you get what I mean?
Yeah. I agree.
And also, it misses TGA window, which you could say, oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It kind of does. If you want to talk about like big game of the year, like that is, it would be good for Xbox to show up with Indiana Jones at that showcase and or at TGA's and maybe even win the big award.
I mean, I don't think they'd win with that, but
Well, no,
I
I'm
do
just
think
saying
I do
they
think
could.
Xbox cares from the announcement side of TGA, but they've never cared about winning. And I mean, people can have different opinions on whether that's valid or whether they should go for the award. But I do think, like, at least getting something nominated and even winning is a big deal. Like, that is a
Mhm.
big deal, and it's held, it brings the brand up. So I think it's something they should, like, at least be, like, think about. They don't have to like, oh, we need to make this game for game of the year. But I do think it's something they like shouldn't. If they can like get indie out a little before then, and they are confident in it, then they should.
100% agree. Yeah, it's just at a point where it's like they don't care about winning, but it is nice to just be there as a nominee. You know,
Yeah,
Psychonauts 2 was a nominee for Game of the Year in 2021, and guess what? A lot more people played Psychonauts 2 because of that. Like that's a thing that happens. You say put on your game,
Hades.
hey, this is a TGA nominated game for Game of the Year. People want to play it.
Hades blew up.
Yep. No, it's 100%. We did hear that Xbox, they said, so I guess like a small news thing here. Sony and Nintendo not showing up at Gamescom, not a surprise at all. They haven't shown up for years. Xbox says they're wanting to make this the biggest show. Like they want it to be a pillar. Like, oh yeah, they're really showing up for this Gamescom. I almost think that's a weird thing to say, hey, we'll be at Gamescom. And like, most likely that's where you get Avowed and indie dates. And I'm almost like, why not show that at your summer show? Because is Gamescom genuine question, Bench? Is Gamescom a big deal in the big showcase wars? Because I really think it's
It's
like a
not a
showcase.
big showcase. It's not a big showcase. From what I hear, it's a big consumer show, though. It's the consumer show now. I mean, the amount of people that flood through there is like, I think it's pretty staggering from the numbers that come out.
320K last year.
Yeah, but I think like for announcements, like I think because we also saw it at like Game Award. I mean, Summer Game Fest proper. It's like, hey, tune in more at Gamescom. Like, I
Yeah.
don't think that's a valid strategy because I don't think Gamescom is on the level of Summer Game Fest and the Game Awards or the Xbox Showcase. You're not going to get as many people watching Gamescom. Like last year, remember, like I didn't know Gamescom was happening until it was happening, and then I tuned in. And
Open.
if I'm not tuned into gaming, I won't know Gamescom's happening. People like outside of the main gamer sphere tune into Summer Game Fest and the Game Awards. They don't do that for Gamescom or the X, and they do that as well for Xbox Show.
Yeah, agreed. Opening Night Live just does not have anywhere near the cachet. Like, truly and honestly, can you remember anything that was shown off at Opening Night Live last year, other than Zack Snyder's new movie?
Was Lies of P there, or was that the year
No,
before?
it was not. I think it was the year. I don't even know. Jeff
'Cause I
should have
know it
been
had.
like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, Gamescom happening. Xbox apparently gonna have a very big presence there. We'll see. Do you think Xbox is kind of reaching that point where they have so many games that it's like a good thing for them to appear at so many different, because they have Developer Direct in January, Showcase in June, Gamescom in August, TGS at September, and then TGA at December. Is that like kind of a mistake to try to appear at every single thing?
I don't think so because I mean we see that with a lot of different shows, and I think what the mistake is appearing at those shows. I think they could get a lot more value if they put on stuff like the direct like one or two times more each year because they're gonna have so many things that they need to keep constantly updated on, like an update a quarter, like Nintendo does, Sony kind of does, third party and first party. So I think that's something they do need to invest in. And they're trying to utilize Jeff's shows as like those like quarterly updates. And I think that's not the right move. I think they'd have more value on putting something up yourself. Like you have the stuff in January, then you have the stuff in the summer, and then you can have something in the fall, and then maybe you show up at the Game Awards. I don't know. I think there's more value to be had if they pulled something there on their own. Because like the developer direct this year was fantastic. Like no one really had any complaints about that.
You know, and I wouldn't say no one. I'm sitting right here now.
You
No,
don't like Japanese games, so
the
you
developer direct. What Japanese games were there?
Visions of Mana like brought the whole thing down for
No, no,
you.
no. Visions of Mana was good. It was Indiana Jones. It was my disappointment at that. I was so sad when I saw that whip. I was like, oh god, it looks so bad. I want to be excited for that game, but like nothing has done it for me at all. Moving into a very, very quick story. Beyond Good and Evil is appearing on June 25th, but really the interesting part of this is there will be an exclusive new mission revealing a narrative link to Beyond Good and Evil 2. The game
I
still
don't
exists, apparently. I don't think this thing's ever coming out though.
I don't even know what genre that game is, the first one.
It's an adventure game, but it's a Zelda clone. I'll be honest. I don't know what Beyond Good and Evil does to warrant Beyond Good and Evil 2 taking so fucking long. Like no one ever viewed Beyond Good and Evil as like one of the greats of the
If
PS2 generation. Like no one said that. It was like, oh, it's a cool game from Ubisoft.
if they can put Skull and Bones out and just like crap it out, then they could just do that for Beyond Good and Evil 2. Because
I
like on a, like all thoughts, like Ubisoft is hitting on all cylinders right now, besides Skull and Bones in this eventual release. Like Outlaws looks fantastic, Shadows looks fantastic, Prince of Persia, Lost Crown I played was fantastic. Like there's no they just need to get this out and move past it.
just think it's the point with this game where I'm almost like, I don't think it ever comes out.
It has to come out, doesn't it? They're like locked in an agreement.
No, no, not this one. That was Skull and Bones that they're locked into an
Okay.
agreement. This one, they, I don't know. It's something. There's something there. I just don't get it. Next in, Kami had this. Blue Point Game CEO reaffirms that the studio is developing an original title and not a remake. Bench, what are they working on? I just want to know.
I think they're working on two things. I don't think it's.
Like
I
a
don't
dual,
know.
yeah. I was bringing up that theory too. You think it's like one remake, one new game?
Yeah, I do. I think that. But I'm curious what they'd remake.
That's the thing, is that they say original title. That doesn't necessarily mean original IP. So it's very
Yeah.
possible they could do an Uncharted spinoff or something. I
Hmm.
don't know what they could be working on. It is interesting. Bluepoint is one of those studios that's like there have been so many leaks about so many different things that are working on there that I think a lot of those are just purely fake. So we have no idea what they could be doing.
I agree.
You still you still very confident. Bob hates you on this. Sorry, Bob. We got to mention you once an episode now. That you think there's a showcase in September.
Yeah, I 100% think there's a showcase in September. I think it's going to be a gathering of the studios for the most part because I do think their 2025 is going to be very good, and I think September is a good time to show that. And I think for the most part, yeah, they like getting things out like within a year or like in that time frame. I don't think they like announce, so I think we're going to be surprised by a lot of things. I think it's going to
It,
be a pretty good showing.
it definitely feels like they changed their what to in terms of like how to handle
Yeah,
releases. They don't want to do like the what was it 4 year wait between Last of Us 2's reveal and
yeah.
uh release. That's it. So I
And
think they want to avoid that.
I think it's funny how this is, we're all saying this is an off year for Sony. They're probably going to put out a Game of the Year contender this year with Astro.
Sure, yeah, yeah. No, I mean, and not even just the second party deals. They got Stellar Blade, they got Helldivers 2. You could argue Rebirth since that is an exclusive, at least for now. They've had a
Yep,
great
they had
year.
Ronin. That apparently sold well.
Yeah, Ronan did really well. It's just like I think we can always say it's like, oh, Sony's like had a really off year today. It's like their first out a lot, but like they're still putting out two games from their first party studios. You know, Concord.
Yep.
We'll see on that, but Astrobot looks amazing, and they have a bunch of second party. Sony fills out the years through second party deals, and it's a very
Yeah.
smart strategy in my opinion.
They're just
Um,
investing in different places, which is, yeah, it's smart.
a quick thing on your favorite person, Matt Booty, on exclusivity
Yes.
multi-platform ballots going forward. Clobril
Oh, I
had
thought this
this.
was a different comment from him.
Uh, oh, what's the one you had?
He commented about Tango.
Oh, was that just today? I think I missed that
It
actually.
was today or yesterday.
Okay, send me that. But real quick on
Okay.
this, we continue to make these decisions individually on a case by case basis. We are absolutely committed to having launch exclusives on Xbox. It's part of our core promise. The Xbox device will always be core to what we do. The console is a foundational to what we do. I'm gonna say this. I don't. Tell me if I'm crazy. In the next 5 years, I don't think there will be launch exclusives for Xbox. I think they will just do multi-platform day and date. There will still be an Xbox
Uh,
console, but I think they're gonna do
I
multi-platform.
think it's less than that. I'd say like 3 years. Because I think, like, we know how big of a success Sea of Thieves was for PlayStation. Like,
Oh yeah.
I think there's going to be a lot of changes. Like, I don't know. Apparently, I think we see Starfield on PS5 in the next year. I think that's the, and call me crazy, but I think Elder Scrolls 6 launches on PS5 or
That's without a doubt.
PS6.
That is actually without question going to happen. They'd be insane to have that as an exclusive, genuinely. That game's going to sell a bajillion copies, and they want to have that PS5 on day and date.
Yep, I think it'll probably be PS6 by that time, but yeah, I think it's multi-platform.
Yeah, I don't think it's like a bad thing for them to be multi-platform. I mean, it works out for me. I want to play them on PlayStation, but like
I mean,
other than
yeah,
that, it's like really the only thing. I don't think their exclusives are selling consoles. That just doesn't happen anymore. Exclusives don't sell consoles
we've heard
nearly as much as they
nothing,
used to.
nothing on Hellblade 2, nothing. And I
Yeah,
can't like I'm gonna look at Steam database and see the max right now for that game.
yeah, I heard it was really low. Which I mean, like, I guess it's not really a PC focused game where
I
the
mean, no,
community
that's
is
like the
there, but
graphics
even
game
then,
though.
yeah, no, you would think.
There's 119 people playing the game right now.
Okay, I mean, it came out a month later. What was the peak?
I'm trying to find the peak.
While you do that, I did find the Matt Booty quote. You sent it to me, and this is funny as fuck. Genki had this. Matt Booty implies Tango GameWorks was closed due to a change in leadership. There are a lot of things that go into success for a game. What leadership do you have? What creative leadership do you have? Is the team the same team that shipped something successful previously? Tango founder Shinji Mikami left the company last year. That is fucking stupid. Holy shit,
Just
that
don't
is
talk
such
about
a
it
bad
anymore.
answer.
Just don't talk
Genuinely,
about it.
how do they let this guy do interviews?
It was like every time anyone, three of them have said something, like, just don't talk about it. Avoid it. That looks shitty, but just like you're doing more harm than good with talking about it.
Genuinely. It's like, oh, it was a change of leadership that like affected them. It's like they had like Shinji Mikami trained up people to take his stead. Like, is
Yeah.
that? I don't really think that's the reason. I,
I have
from what
the.
from what I heard, it was very much an implied thing where they were trying to figure out a way to keep Tango aboard, but like they exhausted their options, which I don't think that's the case either. They definitely had a lot more they could have done. I don't know why you would shut down Tango. Like, it's still like the most insane news story that happened this year to me.
The all-time peak for Hellblade 2. Take a guess.
10,000.
3,982.
What? How?
Which means this game on Steam has probably not sold more than like 50,000 copies, if that.
I mean, maybe
'Cause
100K in a good universe, but dude, what
it's
the
you usually like kind of like times it by a couple. But
I
yeah,
mean, it's on it. Game Pass numbers would go to Xbox the app on
they would
Steam,
have
not
said, they would
PC.
have, if it did anything crazy, they would have told us.
That's true. I mean, hopefully Ninja Theory is fine. You cannot listen. You cannot shut down Ninja Theory after you shut down Tango because you're just kind of telling people it's like, oh, we just don't want small games. It's like
Well, no, if something isn't any success, you're just cut. That's what
Tango
it's
better be
saying.
the. I mean, that's the thing. Hi-Fi Rush was a success apparently, but it wasn't a
It
Call
was,
of Duty level success.
it
So I'm
wasn't a
like,
financial success. They lost money on that game.
I'm just at sitting at this point where it's like, you cannot do another Tango shutdown. Your reputation is so low already. If you do another level shutdown like that,
Yeah.
oof. Heads will roll. Matt Booty still sucks though, right? We agree there.
Oh, you know my opinion. Yes.
I can hate that guy. Next thing, Todd Howard had an interview with Mr. Matty Plays. I watched
That
the
was
whole
a very
thing.
good interview. Props to Maddie. That was very good. I listened to it.
Yep, listened to the whole thing. It was awesome. Big thing that kind of came out is that Todd Howard says we don't need to rush next Fallout game. I, I kind of want them to.
I don't think you can. Listen, there's a difference between rushing and it coming out in 2035. That's the difference.
I just
Like, it's.
that would be so wild to me if the net Fallout 5 is a 2035 game, but it probably will be.
Like, I think you need to be open to partners. And I mean, Todd even said in the interview that they're protective with their IP. And that's been like a long thought thing. And yeah, they're protective with their IP. But they need to look at alternatives because the thing is, like, we have 76. 76 ain't it. Well, I mean, it's not like the Fallout game
I mean,
most people want.
financially, it's it, but like, it's so uninteresting to me personally, and
It's
I think
I
most
do
people.
not want to play 76. It's cool that it's getting map updates, and that seems what they're going to be doing going forward. But if I'm playing a Fallout game, it's going to be 3 New Vegas and 4. I don't have any desire to touch 76. I have my multiplayer game, FF14, which I'll kind of touch on later. But yeah, I have it. So I don't need another one.
I'm just it's just at this point where it's like I want those remasters yesterday. Like, I don't know. I want you to understand this, Bench. We've been asking for Fallout 3 and New Vegas remasters, no joke, since Fallout 4 came out. We were like, oh man, why can't I play Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas on my PS4?
Listen, and I even think those, if they're like more kind of like Metroid Prime remastered in that like sense, where it's like a visual overhaul, then I think that those two like spread out over a couple years could carry until Fallout 5. I think, and if they do that with Elder Scrolls as well, I think that could be enough to carry something until the next mainline title. But I don't know if they're gonna do that, and that sucks.
Yeah, it's so weird with Bethesda where it's like they only want to re-release Skyrim. Like, it's like, why not release Oblivion and Fallout 3? Why did it take till now for us to see your plans that you actually want to do that?
Yep.
Frustrating. As a longtime Bethesda fan, it's like, man, it is. Listen, I'm not going to be that guy. I don't want to talk about Starfield anymore, but I'm just saying, like, man, more and more I think about it, it's like, damn, they really did waste their time with Starfield. Like,
I'll be the judge of that when I go back.
Elder Scrolls 6 would have been a way more interesting title. That's all I'm saying. Like, we could have been playing that by now.
will be feasting in 2030.
2028. At least tell me that. I could see that.
Hmm.
Oh my god. Last
I
thing.
don't think so. Because they want Starfield to be like a yearly thing.
Yeah, and I hate how that. I hate that. I don't want that. Don't make Starfield a thing. Stop trying to make it a thing. I'm angry about it. Anyways, last thing on the news. Sony has reportedly made cuts to VR development with only 2 titles currently planned. This thing is fucking dead.
I mean, this always seemed like a Sony initiative. Sony kind of told PlayStation, "Hey, you need to make another VR," and I think that's kind of what happened. And their heart was never in it.
Yeah, I agree. This definitely seems like something where the Sony bigwigs really wanted to just make a VR headset. Like the big thing about Sony, they love making tech. Like the people at like Sony proper is they're
Mm-hmm.
obsessive with tech and making new types of tech even though it's not really needed. So PlayStation's like, we can't really do much with it, but sure, we'll release it. And I almost think like the $600 SKU, as ridiculous that price was, it was almost like we just need to release something and we might as well try to get some money back on this product because we don't really believe in it whatsoever. Do you think they just outright say it's discontinued or will they quietly discontinue it?
I'm not sure because I mean it's getting PC support, and I think that before they make a final decision, I think they want to see how that does.
That's fair. Yeah. But yeah, that's all the news. Bench. We're gonna do a most anticipated probably the week after next, depending on how everyone feels. But I just want to ask you, you got Dawn Trail next week. How are you feeling about that? And just rest of the year games in general. How are you feeling?
I mean, Dawn Trail is just like easily most anticipated. I have like the main worry on story, but I think they're gonna nail it. So I'm kind of like trying to go in. I mean, it
What?
launches Friday.
It's the start of a new arc, correct?
It is the start of a new arc, but I think they're still going to make it feel like a worthwhile experience. 'Cause, I mean, this is still a 50 to 60 hour JRPG, like all the expansions are. So just got a little like trepidation, but I'm pretty confident that they'll nail it. I mean, like yeah, servers will go up at 4 a.m. Friday, and I'll be up then, ready. So, I mean, I'm pretty much took off work. I'm gonna be playing that for like a week straight, and that's pretty much gonna be my life. So.
It's yeah. So how hardcore of an MMO is FF14? Is it a you gotta be in for every like patch, or is it
No.
a you just come in, play the content you want to, and then head out?
I mean, until like a month ago, I was like 2.5 patches behind. Like I was not caught up on story, and I still haven't really caught up with like some of the raids for Endwalker, which I need to do. So, I mean, it's very casual. Like you don't have like in WoW, you have to make a character for every job. Like in 14, for all almost about to be 21 jobs, you can like be on the same character, and I've kind of been leveling up a job on the side. So I mean, I've definitely got back into like playing every couple days, and then that's been fun. I mean, so yeah, I'm enjoying it. I mean, the new graphical update is going to be pretty nice, and probably just allow for
FF9
a lot more.
references. I've been
Yeah,
hearing
but it's
about
probably
that.
gonna the graphical update's probably gonna allow for like more like cinematic stuff because it's just an overall engine overhaul and it's gonna look better. So I'm just overall very positive on it from
What
what
about
we've
the?
seen. I mean, I haven't watched the launch trailer. I'm honestly just avoiding that.
You might as well avoid it, yeah, if it's this close. It's not like you need to be sold on the game.
Yep, yep.
And I
And
guess
then
the rest of the year, not really you won't talk about specifics, but like, do you think people are going to look back at 2024 and say, that was a good year for games?
I mean, hey, Trail Through Daybreak in 2 weeks.
Okay, outside of
The
Trails.
game.
I'm saying like general viewpoint on
I think
2024.
I think the second half it's pretty packed. I mean, I can name probably like 10 games that I'm like, I'd like to be here day one, but I probably won't be able to because one, I'm waiting to build a PC and that costs money, and two, like, there's just so much.
There's way too much to play. I mean, like, I already sat there, like, I'm making my list for the most anticipated. I'm like, damn, I do kind of just want to play all these games day one. And it's like, that's not going to happen. I know it won't. And I still
Yeah.
got to catch up on stuff. What's the big catch up games for you right now of like that came
For
out the first half?
First half is the one that I recently caught up on was Lost Crown, and something I meant to catch up on. So I'm glad I did that. That was good. And then kind of not first half, but like something that's still kind of like in that vein is Alan Wake 2 because it also has the DLC coming out. That's something
Yeah.
I just need to finish Control DLC and get to that. And then here, I'm trying to think. Ronin
Yeah,
is something I want to catch up on.
for
I'm just
sure.
like there's like three other open world RPGs that I want to play the second half, so who knows when that's going to happen. Um what else
What
was
about
this?
SMT5 Vengeance? You jumping on that?
That's like a deep sale type of thing. Like I don't have time for that right now.
I've been looking at some of those reviews. I'm like, damn, I kind of want to jump in on this.
Yeah, it does look good. And I'm trying to think about what else was this year. I have my list.
Because I think you
Um,
played most of the big stuff. You played Rebirth, which is what that's the thing. You played a lot of the big stuff that I haven't played. Like I know you're not gonna play Infinite Wealth yet because you got like 12
yeah,
other Yakuza games to
that
go.
would be yeah. Another one I hear really good things about is a thousand times resist. That's something I want to play eventually.
Yeah,
Like,
that's one that's like
apparently that's like
I know is probably a really good game. It's just not my thing, but I bet it's good.
I need to play Hades 1 and then wait for the official release, but Hades 2 from what everyone's saying looks great. So, I mean there's a lot to play.
Yeah, right now, Rebirth is definitely one of the big ones that you won't stop being mad at me. I think you reached the point where you're just like you don't care anymore if I play
I,
it.
I'm silently disappointed.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. Dragon's Dogma 2 I do want to get to eventually, but like I'm like, that's a giant RPG. That's gonna take a while.
I think you don't need to play that game.
I don't?
No. Just
Is
like
it like a me thing or is it like a it's not the game of the year contender that a lot of people were
it
saying?
is not worth your time. I mean, I put like 40 hours into it, and that's a game we all going in we thought like this could be game of the year contender. I don't think it's nominated. It's a good game, but it has so many flaws, and it's just like it feels like your time is being actively wasted when you play that game. And I
Yeah, I
think
wasn't
you'd be better off playing other things.
yeah, I wasn't the biggest fan of Dragon's Dogma 1, so
I mean,
that's
it's just like the enemy diversity in that game. There's like 10 different boss enemies scattered across the big open world. Like, come on. Like,
um sorry, go ahead.
it just was a little disappointing. So, I think you need to play Stellar Blade though. You
Yep,
need to play
Stellar
that.
Blades. That was just about to get it. Stellar Blades 100% the big one on my list. Where I'm like, I don't know why I haven't played it. I just haven't been in the mood to play it. But like, I know when I play it, I'm gonna love it.
That could be a fun action game post Elden Ring, kind of like just
That's my
hack
thing.
and
It's like
slash.
after Elden Ring too. Unicorn Overlord, I do really want to get to.
I need to get back to that. I dropped it, and I think I want to go back eventually.
It looks like a fun time, and I do like Vanillaware a lot, especially their art
Hmm.
styles. SMT5, I'm not joking. I really do think I might get to that like as my next big RPG. That looks so fucking good. I don't know. It's like those Atlas games. They're fun. But
I know, but it's apparently yeah. Rebirth needs to happen. Like
Rebirth is the top, yeah.
I'm
I
like, I don't know. I'm constantly thinking about Rebirth these days. It's just like at least once a day. I'm like, man, Rebirth was so good.
respect it. Beef Hammer behind the scenes, he was saying like, man, there's a lot of cutscenes in this game. I know you were not happy about that.
I was happy.
No, but about him like complaining about the
Uh,
cutscenes though.
well, he seems like he's not as negative as Fusion. I think so. That's good. Not as negative as Fusion and Moon. They're haters. Check out my review. It's the only valid thing on this channel. You're a robot. You're breaking up.
Okay, am I good now?
Yep.
Okay. Sorry about that. Shadow of the Erdtree. That's the obvious big review. A 94 on OpenCritic. I guess I got a few more reviews. It was sitting at a 95 for a while. 10 out of 10 from
Well,
IGN.
it's
10 out of
not
10
worth
from
it anymore, huh?
GameSpot.
It dropped down.
Just can't play it anymore. But shocker. It's one of those things. Mike Minotti from Diamond Bomb was saying this, where it was just like, it's like Shadow The Air Tree is the highest river DLC of all time. It's like, yeah, of course it is. Like, it's not surprising. It beat Blood and Wine, I think, one of the Witcher 3
Yep.
expansions. So that was pretty wild. I've been playing it. Hey guys, it's more Elden Ring. Like, there's really not much more I could say. I will say I was shocked. I thought I was gonna be over leveled and kind of swim through the DLC because like I've been running a pure strength build, and on my second playthrough with this strength build, I kind of just sweeped every boss pretty handily. Holy shit, that is not the case. The bosses in this DLC are fucking brutal. I have been stuck on some of these bosses for way longer than I expected to be, and it is doing everything I want it to be. It's a FromSoft DLC. It's going to be way harder than the base game, substantially harder than the base game. But also, Miyazaki, as he always does, undersold the hell out of this DLC. I am already at the point where I'm like, this is way bigger of a map than I fully expected it to be.
Apparently, it's got a lot of verticality.
A lot of verticality so far. Like, even that, like, there's castles, there's towns, like, there's a medieval city. Like spoilers, but like, it's literally the first big area you get to is that this kind of miniature medieval area that's super fascinating. Great stuff all around. Just like, it's a top tier DLC. Absolutely loved it. And game of the year contender.
No.
Nah, but I don't like DLC for GOTY, but like, man.
I'd be mad if we get to the Game Awards nominees and Elden Ring is up there. I'd be upset.
No, I'm fine with that. I get it. Yeah, it's at the point where it's just like, it got the flowers due in 2022. I would just make a best DLC category. Jeff, you had that before. I don't know why he doesn't do that now.
I mean, I've also been playing Elden Ring. I've been replaying it, and I conquered Stormvale last night. I'm at almost 9 hours in.
Okay,
so that's
you're still a
fun.
bit early.
Yep, I'm pretty sure of like almost like 100% Olive Limgrave and the Weeping Peninsula. So it's like time to move on to grander pastures.
Interesting. So you saying you're gonna go for like a full like all the bosses this time now?
Yep,
Right?
I am, and then I will beat the DLC.
Okay. I'll tell you now. I remember you had a lot of trouble with Radagon. The bosses,
Well, okay.
like the super bosses alone, are I don't know, man.
I think my trouble with Radagon is he was just a freaking tank. He had so much health to the point where I don't know. Yeah.
He has low health compared to some of those to Moog. I'll tell you now.
Okay.
I don't want to scare you off. I think you'll be fine, especially if you like are willing to summon and like use Mimic Tier shit like that. You'll be fine. But like for people, this is gonna be like a much harder DLC than I think a lot of people were expecting, and I'm for it 100%. But yeah, that's all the review. That's the show. Really quick show, about 30 minutes. Had a good time, Bench. Thank you for joining me.
I did. Everyone else is lame.
Yeah, I mean, listen. Well, you know what happened? Dark, he doesn't like video games. We know that. Fusion, he hates Elden Ring. He didn't want to talk about it on the podcast. And I don't know where Moon is. I think Moon went on a spiritual journey. So it's just us two. And I think we had a good time.
We did have a good time.
All right. Well, if you guys like this episode, please check out the channel, subscribe, like. Check us out on all the platforms, YouTube, Spotify, and whatnot. But yeah, that's everything. Say goodbye.
Goodbye.
See you later, boys.